Hello, everybody, and welcome back to This Day in History. It is August 26th, 2024. As you know, it's not about the year, it's about the magic of the day. And wow, see, this is what happens when you just get out of the shower and you brush your hair, obviously, but you roll your window down because your AC doesn't work. And so you got the 270 method of air conditioning going on. That's two windows down, going 70 miles an hour. It's an exaggeration, but it wind blows your hair, and so like this is the best I could do to not make it look ridiculous. You should have seen it like a minute ago. It looked like it was so off. It looked like I was wearing a toupee or something. I digress. It's August 26th, and what's special about August 26th to me anyway is it is my uncle's birthday. Although they don't celebrate birthdays because they're Jehovah's Witness, but I love my uncle. I respect my uncle. So happy birthday, Uncle Roy. So there's just a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff happened on this day all throughout the ages. From armies defeating other armies, important people getting captured, people being put to death, some possible assassinations, treaties being signed, important legislation, and then just, a bunch of people died that were important. So let's just get into it. So the very first birthday we have it's 1743. It's Antoine Lavoisier. He was a French chemist. Ironically enough, he was rounded up in the during the French Revolution as part of the Big Terror, where a lot of like the nobles and those who were loyal to the nobles were rounded up and executed. And unfortunately, he was executed. He was one of those that was executed during the French Revolution. But he was born on this day in 1743. He was a chemist. He specifically worked on something to do with oxygen, from what I read, but it wasn't very clear. And I had the attention span of an amoeba. Go figure. 1819, we see the birth of Prince Consort Albert. Obviously, he was a British prince. So what happens is when you are not naturally born, when you're not the natural born prince or king of a country, but you come to the other country and you are betrothed to the princess who becomes queen, you are referred to as the prince consort. So he was the consort to Queen Victoria, who was Queen Elizabeth II's grandmother, if I remember right. I think so. I think Queen Victoria was her grandmother. But same thing happened with Elizabeth. Prince Philip, they would not give him the rank and title of king because he was not English born. He was actually Greek born, if I recall right. I think he was from Greece, and he was of Greece royalty there. Absolutely loved Elizabeth. They were a fantastic couple together, but he had an uncle that shot his mouth off in Parliament, got a little pissed off about what he was saying, because he was saying, hey, we're going to take over the crown, blah 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 blah. So Parliament actually passed some legislation that prohibited Philip from ever having the title of king. And so the children, that'd be Charles and his siblings, they would not ever bear Philip's name, but they would bear Elizabeth's name. And so that's the name that they have on title. The kingship or the monarchy line would stay on her side. And so King Charles now is king because of who his mother was, not because of who his father was. So the same thing happened as far as like titles are concerned with Prince Albert. 1898, Peggy Guggenheim She was an American art collector. She was born on this day. She comes from a pretty wealthy family. They were involved in industry, if I am remembering correctly. She had money, and she just became a collector. She loved art. I believe someone in her family, they died on the Titanic. I think it was a father or uncle or something. I can't really remember. 1951, Edward Witten. He was an American mathematical physicist. He worked on, and I read this, and now I can't remember. It's not like the CERN project, but it's probably related theories there. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't recall right now. And I could look it up, but then I'd have to turn the video off. So, Edward Witten, Witten. Go look him up. Last birthday is Melissa McCarthy. She's an American actress. She's a stand-up comedian. She has done TV. She was on Mike and Molly. She has done movies. She was in The Heat with Sandra Bullock. It was where she played a foul-mouthed police detective working with Sandra Bullock's character, who was like an FBI agent, I think. Funny. This woman is funny. She is absolutely hilarious. Love her comedy, love her routine. She can play drama fairly well too. She's an amazing actress. So happy birthday, Melissa McCarthy. So let's get into the history. We go back to 1071. The Seljuk Turk forces under Alp Arslan, they vanquished the Byzantine army, and they managed to capture Emperor Romanus IV. This would be right around the time when it's getting real close to about when the Byzantine Empire fell, and the Ottomans rose in their place and kind of took over the region. And this is why we have present-day Turkey and all the like. That's where they get their roots from, is their Ottoman ancestors, which they kind of try to do that spread across Europe and were held at bay. And so they kind of, territorially speaking, they kind of had a cutoff in the Balkans, like Albania, Macedonia, Greece there. It's like where it's kind of is, Islam. It's kind of Arab, but not, so that it's kind of like, those are kind of like borderlands, I guess. So, Emperor Romanus Romanus IV Diogenes, he was captured at the Battle of Manzikert. So the Seljuks won that one. A lot of wars on this day. So 1346, it's the 100 Years' War. The English, led by Edward III, they defeat the French at the Battle of Crécy. And we're going to have another 100 Years' War event here at the end. 1629, the English Puritan stockholders pledge, and when I say stockholders, I mean they were the stockholders of the Massachusetts Bay Company. They pledged to immigrate to New England under the terms of the Cambridge Agreement, which essentially what it was is that it basically, they promised and pledged loyalty to the company, to the crown, that they would be good English colonists, and that they would settle in the New World, and that they would settle a colony for the greater glory of England. And that colony, it was known as Massachusetts Bay, but it would later be known as the Boston colony. So the Boston area you get your roots from, and Bostonians probably know this. It's news to me because I'm a West Coaster, but they get their roots from the Massachusetts Bay Company and the Puritan stockholders who made that pledge to go immigrate to the New World and to, start up commercial interests on behalf of the company and the nation of England. I don't know. Passerby honking. Maybe they got nothing better to do. Anyway, so they started that colony. So essentially, Boston gets its humble roots as far back as 1629. 1883, Indonesian volcano Krakatoa erupts. 36,000 people were killed as a result of not only the volcano erupting, but the resulting tsunami that hit that island nation as a result of it. 1914, we're talking World War I. There's this big battle. It's called the Battle of Tannenberg. It began on this day, and it was fought between the Germans and the Russians, and it lasted several days, with the outcome of that battle being in the favor of the Germans. The Germans did defeat the Russians. They were led by Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Ludendorff. Both are names that are very synonymous with German history. I suspect that the blimp that blimp fire that happened in the 1920s, it was called the Hindenburg, so I imagine it was probably named after Paul von Hindenburg. Excuse me. 1920. We move on to 1920. What happens? What is significant in 1920? Well, the 19th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution is ratified. It's passed. It becomes law. And what is significant about the 19th Amendment is that, constitutionally speaking, it gave women the right to vote. In 1936, this is the year my stepdad was born, Anglo-Egyptian Treaty was established. The Anglo-Egyptian Treaty, it recognized Egypt as a sovereign state. It essentially became its own country, free-willed country. They can do as they like, as their own separate sovereignty, after 50 years of British occupation. And in the year that I was born, 1975, is the day that Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie I, we've talked about him a couple times, he died on this day in 1975 on my birth year. He died on this day, and it's at the age of 83, and it was possible assassination. He seemed to be like a fairly decent ruler. I mean, what he did was he brought the country into the UN. He brought them some prosperity, and he did some good things for them. So, 1978, albino Cardinal Lucien was elected Pope as John Paul I. However, he died 33 days later from a heart attack. And then so here's where we have, he died. Next couple people died on this day. On this day in 2015, civil rights activist, American civil rights activist, and organizer of the Selma March in 1965, Amelia Boynton Robinson, she died on this day in 2015 at the age of 104. So she was a very influential, very important figure to the civil rights movement. 2018, American playwright, screenwriter, TV writer Neil Simon, he died at the age of 91. Now, if you're around my age, then you would have seen some of his stuff. He's most notably known for his writing for the TV series The Odd Couple, but he also he wrote the screenplay for the movie Biloxi Blues. That was a Matthew Broderick movie. It was kind of a comical satire of World War II basic training, Army basic training. It was a great movie. It was funnier than hell. It was a good movie. One of my favorites from the 80s, one of my favorites from Matthew Broderick. I mean, he doesn't really do much anymore, but in his youth, he was an amazing comic actor. He was funny. So our event for the day, our featured event for the day, the year is 1429. It's during the 100 Years' War. Joan of Arc and her troops, they arrive on the outskirts of Paris. It was in preparation for an attack on Paris, part of Charles the Seventh, his push to, kick the English out of Paris. Charles the Seventh was known as the Dauphin. He was the regent of the heir apparent, as it were, for, by rights he should have been king of France, but because there was this whole dispute with this 100 Years' War with England, the Dauphin was eventually he was crowned king, if I recall correctly. He and a lot of that was due to Joan's efforts. Joan, on the other hand, was a bit of she was thought of and known as a heretic. She used to say that, she was operating under the guise that God had spoken to her directly and told her to go lead this army to kick the English out of France and to bring the Dauphin to the crown. That was her sole motivation. It's also said that she and her family had received some harsh treatment from the English, and so her fighting the English was a way of retaliation. I'm not sure what happened to her parents. I think her mother was killed by the French. Allegedly, her sister was raped and killed by, not the French, the English, excuse me. She's French. And because of her, the demise of her parents and her sister being raped and killed allegedly by the English, that's what spurred her on to be this woman warrior, and like she led troops into battle, and she was very effective at it. This battle here that was supposed to happen, like they arrive on the outskirts of Paris on this day in 1429, but that planned assault, they did go through with it, but it failed. And what happened to Joan of Arc? Well, eventually, at some point during this war, she was captured by the English, and the English, with some French collaborators who they felt threatened by her presence, that they felt threatened by her power, they felt threatened by her. I mean, they were small, tiny men who were threatened by a strong, independent woman who was doing right by their country. And so realistically, they betrayed her for being the loyal, faithful servant of France that she was. The collaborators with the English, when they captured her, they executed her as a heretic. They trumped up these bogus charges that, she was conducting heresy. And so, like the time, what they did when you were a heretic, they burned you at the stake because, they basically thought you were a witch. Stupid and barbaric. But that's how she was executed. She was burned at the stake. She is venerated now in French society as a hero or a heroine of France. There's big statues of her, and like she's properly venerated now by the people of France as the hero that she truly was. That's it for me for this day on August 26th. We're going to do it again tomorrow for August 27th. We will be back at it, obviously, because it's a this day in history. I got to go eat and go to work, so no gym today because I just wasn't feeling it. I'm fully expecting a shit show at work today because there's just drama going on. My day shift counterpart and I are clashing. So yeah, who knows if I have a job? We'll see. I don't know. I'm not the one in the wrong here, though. That's the thing, is like we're clashing because he does stuff and I report it, and then Friday he got angry about me reporting him, so he deliberately left stuff for me to do, the stuff that I've been reporting anyway. he had to know I was going to report it again, and I did. So I'm expecting a backlash at work, so we'll see. All right, you guys take care. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day. It's a nice, bright, beautiful, sunny day here. Blue skies right now. So be blessed. Take care, and we'll do it again tomorrow for August 27th. All right?